Today on the Big Dog Holler Barbecue channel, we are making some hanging chicken in our Weber Smokey Mountain. So stay tuned and find out how we did it. Welcome to the Holler, everybody. To get this hanging chicken started, what we have here is roughly a 4.5 pound from Springer Mountain Farms chicken. This is a whole young chicken here. We're going to go ahead and get this taken out of the package. To my right, we have a little bit of Holy Voodoo seasoning that we're going to add to it in just a minute. Thank you very much for supplying that, Marty. And then we have some bone shears as well. We're going to cut this in half and hang it up in our Weber Smokey Mountain that way. So let's get this open and we'll be right back. So now that we have our Springer Mountain Farms chicken out of the package and packed mostly dry with a paper towel, what we're going to go ahead and do is cut the backbone out of it and then cut the other side out. So we have two chicken halves. To start, we're going to go on either side of the spine here. Get yourself a nice pair of bone shears. And then we're just going to cut through all the way to the other end. Be sure to remove the giblets if you have any inside of the branded chicken that you bought. We're going to flip this around and we're going to do the same thing going backwards. Or you could do it from the other side as well. We're just looking to get this spine removed. Get a regrip on our shears. And there you have it. There's the spine removed from our chicken. If we were going to spatchcock this bird, this is where we would leave it. We'd give it a nice press on that side to kind of flatten things out. You could certainly use this recipe spatchcocked as well, but we're going to go right down the middle of this side so that we have our two chicken halves. Sometimes the skin can be a little tricky to get through. Make sure you're cutting all the way through. And there'll be a breastbone right about there that can be a little tricky to cut through. But there we go. Let's get one more. There we are. There's our two chicken halves. So as you can see, we have one half of our chicken all seasoned up for our Instagram reel. If you haven't already, go ahead and check that out after you've watched this on YouTube. Same name, Big Dog Holler Barbecue on Instagram. Make sure you're getting underneath the wings, underneath the leg back here as well. And once again, we are using Holy Voodoo. This is going to add a nice little jalapeno spice to our chicken. You can certainly use whatever seasoning you prefer. Flip this over. Not as much meat on this side since this is the inside of the chicken, but certainly don't forget or be shy about seasoning both sides there. But there we have it. There are two seasoned chicken halves. We're going to let this adhere for roughly 15 minutes and we'll meet you out at our Weber Smokey Mountain. So we are out here at our Weber Smokey Mountain. This is the 22-inch model. As you can see, just above 250. This does run a little hot. This temperature gauge isn't super accurate, so probably closer to 275. We are utilizing some cowboy hardwood briquettes for our charcoal, as well as some Bear Mountain Barbecue wood applewood chunks. And like I said, we've been firing this up for about 30 minutes now to get it up to full temperature. A little bit different of a cook today. We are going to hang our chicken. So we have the Hunsaker panel in the bottom, as well as our Hunsaker hanging rack there. So we'll meet you out here once the seasoning is adhered. See you then. So after letting our meat church seasoning adhere for roughly 15 to 20 minutes, we're back out here at our Weber Smokey Mountain. We're gonna get this top popped here. And we're gonna get this two half birds placed on our Hunsaker holder. These hooks came with our Hunsaker accessories as well. And we're gonna let these ride for roughly 2 to 3 hours, and get that nice direct heat, smoke, and flavor. And we'll meet you back out here when they're done. So after roughly 2 hours hanging out on our Weber Smokey Mountain, let's take a look at our chicken. chicken halves. As you can see, great color to them. Still getting plenty of seasoning from the wood and charcoal flavor underneath. Probing right around 165 internal. They're going to carry over, cook a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and get these pulled off and meet you guys inside. So now that we have our chicken back inside, the next step that we're going to take is we're going to try our best to remove most of this skin. A couple options you have for it. You could certainly leave it on. It's probably going to get a little soggy, but obviously it does pack a punch and some great flavor there. You could throw it into a chicken stock and make your own homemade chicken stock. Or you can throw it into a pan and crisp it up and add it to your sandwich or whatever sort of chicken entree you are planning on making it. So certainly several options. Now that we have our chicken mostly de-skinned, we are going to add half a stick of butter to our chicken here. Since we're pulling it, we want it to come down in temperature a decent bit. So adding this butter is going to help retain the moisture. We have a lid somewhere that we're going to put on top as well, kind of keep almost steam it a little bit, if you will, as it comes down in temperature. Just going to make it release from the bone real nice and get it to a perfect eating temperature. So I'm going to let it rest probably 15 to 20, maybe 30 minutes, and we'll see you back then. So we have our 2 half chickens fully rested. Now we ended up putting it in the oven on warm for a little bit. But in our butter bath, as you can see, incredibly tender, just coming right apart. So now we just have to start shredding the meat off of here to the best of our ability. It doesn't have to be a super fine shred, but we'll be back once we've accomplished that. But now that we have our chicken fully shredded, that is pretty much all there is to it. The nice thing about doing a whole bird is it's kind of like doing a whole hog. You got more light meat and dark meat and just variation in flavor generally there. One more thing that I would add to this, since the outside of the bird has been smoked, but there's certainly, the breast meat and things like that, I'd add a little bit more of our meat church seasoning, similar to the like a pork butt or anything like that, where you're wanting a little bit of finishing dust for just a little bit more flavor there. But after adding that finishing dust, that's pretty much all there is to it. Like I said, you can grab a couple buns, you could add it to a taco, you could do anything like that. But certainly a very juicy whole chicken. But there you have it. Some hanging chicken, Big Dog Holler barbecue style. Whoever eats the most gets the most, so dig in.